Hi, welcome back to Nilly's Bonsai. Today, just want to go back over these white pines I showed you in a previous video. We're just going to give them a repot. Now these are nursery plants or garden centre plants if you like, so there's not much to be expected from the roots. But they're starting to wake up now. We've had them kind of just over sheltered in this greenhouse here and they're starting to show signs of life, so I thought it'd be a good time to repot them. We're going to try and straighten out the roots best we can, maybe a little bit, we'll maybe push our luck a little bit with them. I got these for a really good price, and I know a guy that would take these. It snapped my arm off from just to stick them in the garden, so if they don't work out as bonsai, I know I've got a home for these. Yeah, and really we've just done some basic wiring before just to see if I could get any shape on there, but obviously there's a graft here, so you've got to be really careful. This one here I managed to bend around a little bit further and just played with them really. But looking at this one again, really, if we have to, because of the graft here, we could leave these shorter, and this could be a top here, the new leader there, and we could have much shorter trees, but we'll just bulk them up a little bit, obviously, with this that we got here. And maybe as well, I've tried this air layer in these tops at some point for the sake of it. I know it's doubtful whether it will work, but if we're going to cut something off, then I don't mind giving it a go. So we'll start now just by kind of looking in there, see what we've got. It's a bit of a mystery. I'm going to put these bark chips in the mix. They're not really needed on top. They're kind of a little bit of a pain for then, watering, keeping an eye on it properly. You've got to do everything by weight if you like. Well, look, those white roots there. So you can see these already. Now you can already see there's roots kind of pushing back up from the top here, so they've kind of just been plonked in these pots a bit rough. So like I say, we're not expecting miracles or lovely roots. You can see the health of it. Does look like some mycelium there as well. We're going to reuse the soil mix that's here with some other stuff just to aid the drainage. As you can see, that this is just like wet soggy compost at the bottom here, and I've been carefully not watering these very often at all, so it's just what they're in, unfortunately. Let's see what we can do to clean it up a little bit. I've got just a little bottle of rainwater there on hand, so we can spray the roots occasionally if they look like they're getting too dry. So really, we'll flick a little bit at the top here, but it's more at the bottom I want to reduce to start with. So let's just find where it all begins. We're not aiming to bare root these really. If we can avoid it, that's a no-no with pines, obviously. Hard to see whether a lot of them roots there already look dead, you see, and that's another good reason for repotting these. They're just in the wrong mix. Dressed up lovely with some bark chips and everything, but not going to do us any good in the long run. You see, it's just like compost there. These have not long been chucked in here, obviously, so probably last year or whatever. So we've got them fairly early, so there might be some hope in there of getting something decent. It's just, they would have been just put up, obviously, little pot sizes as they've gone along. And you see, it's just sending out new roots everywhere, so it's got to be a good time to have a little go at this now. It is a mystery though, what we've got. It could be a total mess or something really nice. I don't like the look of that one there to start with. Like I said earlier, we were out on a little adventure and we came across them, and I couldn't kind of believe the price of them, so we got a couple. And if I can't do nothing with them, I know someone who would just enjoy these as a garden shrub, and he's got a large kind of Japanese style garden without any Japanese pines yet, so I'm sure he'd happily have these. As you can see, I don't think we've lost the root yet. We probably won't keep that up, but and being in the greenhouse, an unheated greenhouse for the last couple of weeks, has kind of brought them on, and luckily kind kind of undone some of that root loss already. Now these are always a pain, these little kind of fibre cells they start these young plants in, because they tend to funnel all the roots in one direction or back over themselves, just from experience. This one here has come right back up over, that's no good. It's a nice healthy root, but it's not what we want. You can just see them little white dots everywhere. Not really finding any root flare yet though, so this could be a battle, this. Unfortunately we can't go dunking these in buckets of water like we can our deciduous collected trees. Just going to give it a little mist. I shake the soil, but it will just stop them roots getting too dry. When it comes to deciduous shrubs, I feel at ease, and you know, you can know instantly what you can kind of get away with, but when it comes to pines, they're a whole different beast. I know some people would wait probably a little bit later on to do this, but I have got the benefit here of this unheated greenhouse, so there's protection. I do feel that most of the cold weather is out of the way, you know, unless we get some extreme weather. It's just going to be light for us. I would have hoped so. So I'm more than happy to get on with this, and I kind of want to start just getting around this problem before it's another season in, or these new roots have all kind of thickened up a little bit and made it even more complicated. You see these little mesh pots that they grow these young things in, you see it just causes problems here now, because the roots grow any which way just to kind of get free of it. That is never going to be of any use to me, so I'm just going to get it out of the way, because I don't really want to have to keep working around that. This thing as well, this has got to go regardless of what it's doing. For now I can see other roots around there. Let's just confirm a little bit more strength before we cut that off. I'm quite confident now as well. I've seen these in the greenhouse that we don't have them in too sunny a spot, but they get a little bit of morning sun and stuff, they'll bounce back quite nicely, I think. So at the moment we've only lost a few little shoots off there, so that's good. So we've not, although there's a lot of soil off of it, we've not done any harm to what's remaining. There we go, there's a bit out of the way. A lovely root, but too much. At least it's not completely, there's new shoots further up as well, new forks out on it, so that's good. So we're going to be getting rid of quite a bit there in one go. Well, I said we weren't going to bare root it, and we're not far off a bare root pine here, which probably isn't the ideal situation, but like I say, if this is no good, then I'm just going to pot it up and get it to recover it and go as a garden shrub. See, with all them new shoots around now, I feel like I can cut that off. It's probably going to take a lot of vigour out of this, but I think what will save me here is this is still a young tree, and there's lots of new little white tips everywhere, so we've not taken away all its ability to do something to counteract what we've just done. Not to say that this wouldn't go unnoticed by the tree for sure. Well, there we go, so maybe this one will lend itself to a bit of an angle. There's a lot going on there. I don't want to take this back further and end up closer to the graft there. Although it does fan a little bit down there, but I think it'll be too extreme, so we'll keep this newer stuff and we'll see what grows off of this. So pot it up, like I said, we're going to reuse some of this old soil because the chances are the mycelium will be in there. So we'll keep that. That's got that pine chip in as well there. Just take out any big bits as we see it. You can see how that instantly just aerates the soil there. Right, so we've done that. I'm going to put these in a pond planting container. If you've got colanders or anything like that, it would be brilliant. I'm going to give this method a go. Obviously with the oxygenization there, you know, around the edges the roots hit it, it apparently kind of forces back budding in the roots, you know, new shoots to push back. So it'll be handy with these, we won't have to interfere with them so often again. So with this as well, I'm going to just lightly tie these in if we can. Let's see how this sits in. Make sure it's happy. Or as happy as it can be after that. I'd rather with these just cry once and get it done than come back in a few years, try and pot these nicely and just get nowhere with it because of that initial kind of circling that's happening in the pot just carries on, and you can see they were going in all directions, up, down and around. So if we got some new roots out of that, pushing out, which I was seeing on the woodier stems, so it's not like it can't do it. With the warmth of the greenhouse, as well as this mix, then maybe, just maybe, we'll get away with it. Like I say, I wouldn't recommend you push them this far. You know, you could do this over a couple of years. Or maybe the berry isn't as important to you. But just obviously with, like I said, this nursery kind of garden centre stock, it's kind of the trade-off for the price. So we're just checking that we are happy with the planting angle and there is some kind of movement there, which, like I said, we've made the most out of what we've got. If this recovers, I might attempt it a little bit further. That looks quite good how it's sitting in there now, actually. Half a chance there if we can get some new roots out of it. So like I say, we'll try and wire it in there some way. What I have got is some fine aluminium wire that we're not really using for much else. Some of this copper electrical cable that we can use the sleeving of. Now we're not going to be able to tie down with the roots because of what we've done there. So I think we'll go round the trunk with this and just keep an eye on it because we've got some wire on there we need to keep an eye on as well. Maybe we could tie down off that bottom layer actually as well, wouldn't be a bad shout. So with this, I'm only going to use it like how it's being used in the wire as such. This is a shrouding. You could cut down the ends of the wires to pull this off easier, so I'm trying to preserve the length of the wire. So there's one. Maybe we'll use two of them, we'll do two now. So we've got them there when we're getting involved in it. Using the previous one to measure. And obviously the aluminium wire we're using is a lot thinner. I don't want to damage these baskets because these are going to be in there a little while, so you could use that copper wire, but you over pull it or just bend it and it will snap these for sure. We'll just double through this, and then I don't mind putting one more along the top. It might seem OTT, but I don't want these to move around, especially after what we've just done to the roots. So if we're going to do things like that, then we need to give them the best chance afterwards. We'll use that for now. This aluminium wire, believe it or not, is out of an amplifier. So here's an interesting source for you. Right, we'll just start by getting those on the bottom run. probably put that stick in there because you never have enough hands, do you? That's why I tie that in, see if we can find a balance. There we go. Right. Let's take up the slack on that side. Try and pick where we want to tie it through here. Don't trap any roots that we want higher. I'm using that kind of lower plane here to aid our advantage to tying it in. And really the sleeving I've put on there is just because the aluminium wire is thin, and like I said, because I don't want to damage the basket in any way, the sleeving I put on there is just to stop that biting into the roots for the sake of it. We're using it quite low there, so it's not really the end of the world, but it's good practice, isn't it? There we go again, just feeding that one through, trying to catch it on the bottom of that base. That one, in all fairness, a couple more notches along. That's just anchoring it down a little bit on what we've got on them bottom roots. Like I say, I will tie it in further in a minute. You see that alley wire there, you can pull that quite a bit because it's so fine. You know, there's very little risk of damaging the pot. Now, we'll put another strip across the thing in a minute to tie it down as well. I might just peg in a few of those roots at the back there if we can, if the soil will hold it. Got some steel wire here that I like to use for this because it's pretty useless for bending trunks and things. You'll just do damage with it. You can certainly bend things with it, but applying it and taking it off is a different matter. Not the most desirable angle on them roots in the world, but they're vital at the moment, so we'll take anything there. I have an absolute glut of this steel wire, so I don't mind how many clips and bits it takes, and they're fairly large, so you can see them again at the end of the day. They're not going to bite into the roots at any rate. There we go, we've definitely made the best of the situation. Like I say, not taxed up with pines to do what I've just done there. I wouldn't recommend you do it to your prize plant. It's something you really cherish. I've bought a couple of these at a very good price, like I've said to you numerous times here. And this is solely an experiment to try and get some good roots out of one before it gets too late. And then second to that, I guess from what you can take of it, if you're not going to push your tree this far, is just a few little things there of upcycling a few things and, you know, making the most of them. And obviously the container, you know, probably best to give these a go and you'll get to see the results of this in a couple of years' time. So now what we're going to do with this, obviously, is just backfill this very slowly here at this time, because we want the cavities to get filled up, but then we don't want to press down certain roots at this point. And I like to always kind of get soil between layers of roots, even at the bottom there. I don't believe that roots sitting on top of roots ever does it any favours. This one for me is kind of nerve-wracking, that we're destroying some pines potentially if it went wrong, but at the same time, if we get it right, we set these on the way to being something more useful. And also, I would have known my own limits with them, because obviously you can easily be put off with pines. I've played with them in the past as well, and it hasn't gone too well. All the woodland round where we live here, you go up there and you look at what the young pines are kind of growing in when they clear a bit of forest, and all the new ones pop up. It is almost just sand, so see the things maybe in your mind, oh, that doesn't look too great for it, but I think it will be in its element. And again, I filled it a little bit higher than we maybe want to there, or I might even put another sprinkle on there, just because I want to pull some more roots from that top if possible around that area. In the pot underneath there, it's being secured across here. Just as a precautionary, I'm just going to secure it across this way, and then we know it's kind of anchored in there best it can be, and it will give these new roots we've just mucked around with a chance to kind of spread out undisturbed without any more damage occurring. I'm going to send that wire down a little bit this time so it gets a little bit more support to the pot. You can see that's firmly in there. So we've given this the best chance after the worst start there from us. There we go, so it's kind of guide wired tied down there. Like I said, there's a little piece of movement, nothing much. If this does take well and we can bend it a little bit more, we maybe will. But I think we'll have to now go with the branches to kind of whatever we take as a new leader. We'll have to start providing a bit more movement. I'm going to say this here is more just sacrificial. So there's one done. Well, next up we'll get this one out of the way. Again, this is really a repot. I've mucked around with a piece of wire on it, but it's not really anything significant. I'm kind of thinking with this one again, depending on the graft and how it goes, there's potentials for new leaders here. The branching on that piece already is quite attractive, you know, if that was going to be a leader. But really keeping this on to keep the options open, really, and to aid the recovery for now, and to see where things, you know, grow back from. I already see there's a new little bud right on the inside of that branch. So it's kind of positive to see that happens, you know. And on the other ones, I'd actually clip back the needles a little bit to kind of reveal these, to just see how, you know, buds occur and kind of practice on the species a little bit. And it's good to see already, you know, we're not even really into the proper growing season yet and things are happening. So get the repot out of the way and get these on their way. The same process as last time. We're just going to get rid of all these chip-ins for now. I'm going to put them into the mix. This one looks a little bit better. There's actually some chip-ins in there. But still, that is just, like I said, I've been very modestly watering these. Not been chucking loads on there. Even less water now that they've been repotted. So we'll just go back in like we did with the other one. Just break that surface tension, find where things begin. So again, it's really encouraging the white roots, even as we're poking around at the top here, poking out. So it does show you that they do root back up further up. It's still early March here in England, obviously. So we're just starting our springtime. This is just literally like garden compost that they've got this in. So if we'd had cold weather and you'd repotted it in similar to this and left it outside, then definitely probably would have been the end of it for you. That's that fibre pot. This is what they start off in, you see. This is why you end up with the messy roots. And these were never grown, obviously, to be bonsais. So I was kind of looking at it to see whether we could do something with a rock maybe or that with this one, but there's just not enough, and there's not enough flexibility there left. So. Right, give that a good spray and sit that out of the way while we get the mix sorted out. So you see, in the grand scheme of things, although it looks really harsh what I've done, and I know bare rooting pines is a no-no as such, but we've not really taken off. Some of this would have been out of the other one as well. We've not taken off a great deal. Right. There we are. There's something from that side at least. The planting angle of this isn't really, with that straightness there and the roots how they are, we can maybe come back in and adjust that as and when. I don't bend that any further with that graft there either, so you know, that is what that is. As we get more roots off of here next time as we go in, we might be able to adjust the angle. I don't think there's much more I can do with that one though. We'll see how it recovers and we'll go from there. But there we are, they're all potted up now. There's one I've done previous there as well. This has had a little bit, probably, I've done this at home, done this for my birthday actually, a lot earlier than you should have. But I have a windowsill where you kind of get a little bit of steam, the right amount of light, and things just thrive on there. You know, pine trees do not belong indoors at any, you know, under any circumstances really like that. But this windowsill I've got really does, you know, give them a good head start. If I had enough room, these three would be going on there. But they'll just remain in the greenhouse for now, and you know, we'll see how we get on. Like I say, by no means copy what I've done there by better rooting them. I've done that because I want to achieve something out of these, and I don't feel that if I don't get in there and do something about it, it won't happen. But yeah, there's probably a few things you can take from there, and like I say, if you have enjoyed it, if you could like it, and I daren't ask you to subscribe because I'm sure you will, to see if I've killed them. So I'll see you down the road with these ones. Thank you.